Here on the Lakeshore, 89.1 FM. I'm Chris Nolte. We're continuing on our theme on the environment today, talking now about how, of all people, MBA students seem to be involved in advising the Sustainability Alliance to come up with some interesting green economic projects here in Indiana. It's all part of a project that is underway at the IU Kelley School of Business in Bloomington at the main campus. And we have with us today to talk about it, we have one of the people working on the project directly. We have Professor Carl Briggs and one of the MBA students, Caroline Story, with us today to talk about it. And first off, Caroline, thanks for being with us today. Tell us a little bit about what you and your colleagues there in the MBA program, and second-year students, are involved in this project, and what you hope to accomplish from this.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we were given a project earlier this year for about a week to do a case competition with the rest of the students in the Supply Chain and Global Management Academy. It's about 30 students in the MBA program. And we were given a goal from INSA, the Indiana Sustainability Alliance, for us to come up with recommendations to help them both promote economic development in Indiana and then also make Indiana more sustainable. So my group in particular focused on two facts. The fact that Indiana GDP growth is at about 1.5%, lagging the total U.S., which is at about 2.6%. And then also that Indiana relies on coal for about 97% of its energy, on the energy grid. So looking at those two facts, we felt like INSA could work to generate more activity in the wind energy generation and also hybrid car markets by helping them to establish clusters and bring more firms from those businesses to manufacture in Indiana. And in addition to that, we recommended some activities for those clusters to participate in, including energy audits to make the manufacturing that occurs here in Indiana be more sustainable, and then also what we call the Green Indiana Expo to help the green businesses that exist in Indiana to be able to connect to each other and help the supply chain that exists in Indiana come more from Indiana companies to further grow Indiana GDP.
Well, let's turn now to Professor Carl Briggs. He's a clinical associate professor of operations and decision technologies at the Kelley School of Business in Bloomington. That's a very long title, Professor Briggs. I'm sure you didn't think that up, but somebody did, which is fine, too. Tell us how you all, there on campus in the faculty there at the at Kelley School of Business, got involved talking with the Indiana Sustainability Alliance and getting this interesting project going.
Sure, Chris. Well, first of all, thanks for having us today to talk about this project. Carolyn gave you some insight on the project that her team did. There were other teams as well. She represents the winning team. But essentially what these students were tasked with doing was identifying opportunities in Indiana to grow in a way that is in line with sustainability initiatives.
Now, who all was involved with Carolyn on her team on this project?
She had several students. A group of about 5 students were working, and as she mentioned, under a pretty significant time constraint to do the analysis and to reach out to the stakeholders and to identify these opportunities. There were also 4 other teams that were doing the same thing, and at the end of the process, each of the teams had an opportunity to present their findings in front of a group of professionals in the field.
Now, did all of these team members, when this project first got started, here obviously you get together with everybody in this particular area there in the MBA program, because they're all second-year students. You get down, you sit down with them. Here's what the Sustainability Alliance is interested in. Talk a little bit about them so they understand from whence these people are coming. And this way they can in turn kind of come up with the ideas. They have a little framework maybe that they had to start with, and they just kind of grew from there.
Right. Actually, there's a process that we use to help students manage these projects. But the thing that's so interesting to me is, in your opening remarks, you seem surprised that MBAs were interested in sustainability.
Well, it isn't usually like them, which is not that's a bad thing. But it's just it's so new. And we know it. And the green jobs idea, of course, is new within the last.
Absolutely.
It's become popular certainly in the last 5 years, although it's been in existence a lot longer than that.
Well, you know what I was going to say is surprisingly, my MBA students are very interested in sustainability, and I think they bring a unique skill set to the table. They're interested sustainability for all of the right reasons, but they're also interested in business. Indiana historically, particularly your part of Indiana, is known for its heavy industry. The students were tasked with identifying the opportunities in these industry sectors that we could leverage in a way that would be both sustainable but would also build on the existing base. And there were several teams that came up with some fantastic ideas of ways to do that. Carolyn mentioned some others that were mentioned included leveraging connections with the Department of Defense and biofuels, looking into healthcare in a sustainable kinds of ways. I was very pleased with the results that came out of this project.
It sounds like there's some interesting things in just looking at some of the information that came up from campus about this and some of the recommendations. Carolyn, let's turn to you now. You were you mentioning here when we first started talking here about how you might be able to take advantage of the transportation industry that's, of course, been a big part of Indiana history and Indiana business and manufacturing for seemingly forever, I know, but it's changing. We have companies like Interdell and other companies that are coming in that are looking into ways to get involved in electric motor technology. We've got, of course, the wind systems that are interested too. Tell us about what you and your colleagues on the team came up with these ideas.
Absolutely, yeah. So we look specifically at wind and also hybrid car market, and both of those are tied together in an interesting way because right now, if you plug your hybrid into the system, 97% of that energy isn't renewable. But with some of the wind farms that are being built in Indiana right now, that makes hybrid car technology actually clean technology. So what we recommended for INSA specifically is that they create some programs for both the wind industry and the hybrid auto industry to connect and form clusters. We recommend that those clusters have an advisory board, which is connected by INSA, and then that they create a strategic vision and connect to universities so that way Indiana becomes known not just for manufacturing, but also has a bigger part in research and development of these green industries.
I know that there are more companies interested in relocating or locating in Indiana. In particular, one of the bigger players that have come into the picture now, a company called Bravini, which is based in Italy, but they're now deciding to set up shop actually creating the parts for wind turbines in eastern Indiana. So it's going to happen everywhere across the Hoosier State, and hopefully eventually we'll get more than just the wind farms, which kind of come up in our neck of the woods up here, so to speak here, but obviously get the businesses, the industries that will help make these things over time too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's interesting for the auto industry. The president of Interdell actually compared northern Indiana to Silicon Valley in that, like, northern Indiana is becoming a base for both hybrid auto manufacturing and hopefully wind in the future. And by Indiana and the government providing tax incentives, as more of these companies come in, there's more of a trained labor workforce. It just becomes a magnet for more companies to come. So I think that Indiana is doing a lot of great things to provide incentives for companies like Think, the battery electric vehicle maker, and then another one that's coming into Indiana is Bella Gear Systems, a wind farm parts maker, is going to be coming to Marion, Indiana, and it's supposed to create about 200 jobs by 2013. So there are a lot of great opportunities for Indiana.
Now tell us briefly here about this idea about the Green Indiana Expo that you're wanting to work with INSA to help work with them as well too. It's another big networking opportunity that they would like to accomplish too.
Sure, yeah. When we looked at expos in Indiana, we saw a lot of business to consumer expos to generate consumer awareness for being green, but we didn't see a lot of business-to-business opportunities for businesses to connect with each other. So when you think about all the amazing car companies that we have in Indiana, like Think, Bright Automotive, Delphi, Allison Transmission, this would be an opportunity for those companies to connect, also try to attract more businesses to Indiana. You could also, at this type of expo, host student competitions to get schools, just like Kelly School Business MBA program was involved in this project. You could bring in engineering schools like Purdue or Rose-Hulman, and then also give companies like Cummins and Think, Bright Automotive, give them a chance to present on the sustainability initiatives and the new technologies that they have that they're introducing.
Now, Professor Briggs, since you've got the teams together, you've got some ideas from them here in this project here. What is likely to happen as far as not only these second-year MBA students, but other students are going to come down the line, so to speak, as they move up in their classwork here at the Kelley School of Business to get involved in projects like this?
Sustainability is a recurring theme that we have identified. So my first year students will have the opportunity in the spring to work on sustainability related projects in much the same way that Carolyn's cohort had in their first year. So this is a much bigger thing than just a one-time shot. Now, with regard to this project, we're continuing to work with INSA and hopefully see some of these ideas come to fruition. So we're very excited about both what the teams are doing with this project, but also in the future.
I know that INSA is involved. Of course, they're actually coming together with a lot of help from a lot of other organizations, and of course with the IU Kelley School of Business as well too. And how does Ice Miller LLP, which is one of the state's biggest law firms, how do they fit into all of this?
Well, they were very involved in putting together some of the early programs. They've just been invaluable in terms of their organizational skills and resources that they brought to the table. And in our panel of experts, they graciously volunteered some experts for this particular program as well. But I think the most important point that you identify is that for this kind of initiative to be successful, it really involves it has to involve lots of stakeholders and stakeholders from lots of different areas. And I think that's one thing that when I looked at our panel of experts that I found to be very interesting, because we had experts and business professionals. We had folks who were in the sustainability movement field, and it was a really wonderful mix with the students in the middle having to create value for all of those audiences.
Now, Carolyn, we'll kind of wrap things up here. Let me turn to you now, since you obviously have found this project very, very interesting, as you and your colleagues have. Obviously, it's something that's a little out of the ordinary. Certainly, we mentioned kind of, I guess, maybe with tongue-in-cheek about how MBA students might find this kind of topic interesting. But obviously, this has spurred you and a lot of your colleagues along here, and you're probably going to follow through on some other things as you continue on your work on your MBA.
Yeah, actually, the Kelley School of Business, I've been involved in a couple different sustainability type topics while I've been there, and we're always looking at Kelley we're always doing real life projects with companies, and this has been the second time I've worked on sustainability, but numerous times we've worked with companies like Tempur-Pedic, FedEx, to do real life projects and help to come up with answers to the problems that they have. So I'm not personally going into the field of sustainability, but we plan to continue working with INSA in any questions that they have in our recommendations and helping them to follow through on them.
Carolyn Story is a second-year MBA student at the IU Kelley School of Business down at the IU Bloomington campus. And with us as well today, we have one of the people working on the project and spearheading the project with her, Professor Carl Briggs from the IU Kelley School of Business. Thank you both for being with us today. An interesting topic here to look into how green economic development is going to help not only boost businesses and jobs in Indiana, but shape the future for the Hoosier State, too. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for listening. We'll be back with more in just a moment. You're listening to Regionally Speaking here on the Lakeshore 89.1 FM.
Obama's Wars is one of the most important books of the past year. There are all